What's up guys, it's Mike here. Welcome to AutoVlog. In today's video I'm going to cover a topic that I actually deal with a lot in my work environment. I've been in automotive sales for a little bit over 3 years now, and I meet a lot of different type of people, and they have different ideas and preconceived notions of how things work and how much money a dealership makes off a car they sell and so on. Especially people that maybe are from an older generation. They think that the dealership owns the whole full cost of the car, and unless we give them $20,000 off, we're robbing them. And I can understand that to a point. I mean, back in the day before the internet was around, it was hard to really know what the market value of a car was and really what you should pay. Today it's a little bit different, and I mean, this video here, for you people who follow my channel, this video is not to defend just dealerships and they don't make any money, because they do. They make tons of money. And also, if you've been following the channel, you know that I'm not the typical car salesman, car reviewer guy. I mean, I'll list positive and negative things about a car or a specific matter. I mean, I've made negative videos on my truck and Ford Fusion, and positive ones. The negative ones get enormous amounts of hate, but that's just the way it is, because I want to be honest and my owner experience of the cars. So today we're going to take a look at 2 invoices. One of the invoices is going to be for one of the most expensive Fords that you can buy, and it's a pretty much fully loaded Ford Raptor. It stickers at right over $70,000. But first, before we do that, we're going to take a look at, my cat wants to come inside. Alright, but before we do that, we're going to take a look at the invoice for one of the cheapest Fords that you can buy, and it's actually one of the cheapest cars in the world. It's a Ford Fiesta, completely standard with a manual transmission, which stickers at just over $14,000. So let's get into it here and take a look at what the actual markup is for one of the most expensive trucks out there on the market versus one of the cheapest compact cars on the market, the Ford Fiesta. Alright guys, so here is invoice number 1, and this is basically what it looks like. This Ford Fiesta is, like I mentioned, a base model Ford Fiesta, so it doesn't have a long options list here, because it really doesn't have any options at all. But what we're going to do is we're going to start up top here, obviously. So it is a Ford Fiesta 4-door sedan S. Okay, base model. Suggested retail price is $13,660. Invoice amount $13,456. So there's a couple add-ons here, but we're just going to go down here. Oxford White is not something you pay extra for. That's like the base color. Charcoal black cloth seats, and go on down here. It's the standard engine, a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine, and as we can see on the columns to the right here, there's no additional cost to that. 50 state emissions, that is just emission standards for PA. Every car has to have 50 state emissions. That's not an add-on as well. And then we have down here, we have destination and delivery. So that's an $875 add-on, which brings it to $14,535. And the $14,535 is the actual MSRP for this Ford Fiesta. Now, the invoice amount, if we look up here, is $14,356. And then as we go down here, we see that here as well. Invoice total $14,356 and $68. Now there's a couple columns right down here that I'm going to show you. So HB, that stands for holdback, and that's something that every dealership gets on every car, and it will differ depending on how expensive that car is. Now the holdback is something that most dealerships don't really dip into. Some do, but it's basically advertising money and stuff like that that Ford gives to the dealership, which is not part of the invoice. This is the invoice price, and this is extra money that a dealership can dip into. On this Ford Fiesta, being the cheapest Ford that you can buy, as you can see here, the invoice $14,356 and 68 cents versus the MSRP which is $14,535, is not even $200. So that is the actual markup on a Ford Fiesta base model. So to be honest, I mean, a dealership doesn't really make that much money when they sell a cheap car like this. Now if we go over here, A and Z plan. A plan is Ford Motor Company employees. They can buy the car for A plan, which is below invoice. On this car here, it is about $300 below invoice. And the extra $300 is something that Ford will give back to the dealership if the person that comes in has the right credentials and can show that, you know, they actually have A plan. You get a PIN that is generated and so on. Z plan is the same thing, but it's retired Ford Motor Company employees. And these plans can go down to you know, relatives and so on several years back. So it is something that family members can take part of as well. Now D plan, not quite as good as A or Z plan. It's about $100 more, or exactly $100 more, is what I could buy the car for. I'm a dealership employee. So that's what D plan stands for. X plan stands for if you work for a company that has a partnership with Ford, you could buy the car for X plan, which is $14,575. But X plan is actually not as good as invoice. It's slightly over invoice. So this invoice right here is for a Ford Fiesta that stickers at $14,535. Now there will be rebates on this car as well, so you will be able to buy it for less than $14,356. It actually goes down to $13,100, and we have this on our website for our dealership. So you get a really good deal if you buy a base model Ford Fiesta. I will be doing a review on this car whenever we get it to the dealership. It is currently in transit. But what we're going to do now is we're going to jump to the Raptor and see what the difference is between one of the cheapest Fords you can buy versus one of the most expensive Fords you can buy. Alright, so let's take a look at the Ford Raptor and see what the actual markup is for a $70,000 truck. Alright, so we're going to start up here. This will be the suggested retail price for a base Raptor and the invoice amount right here. However, this truck is not a base model. It is loaded with equipment group 802A, which is a $9,345 cost, and the invoice for that package alone is $85.97. And as we go down here, this is basically what's part of the 802A package. You get a 410 front axle torsion differential, 360 camera, and so on. And then we come down here. Obviously it has a 3.5 liter V6 high output EcoBoost, 450 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. And then we come down here to some additional options. So this one has the exterior graphics package, $1,075, and I missed the twin panel moonroof there. That's $1,295. Invoice cost $1,192. $1,095 for the graphics package, which is actually a cost of $989. And then we go down here. It has the 17-inch wheels. That's $1,165 versus $1,072. The tailgate applique, $495, which is $456. And as we go down here, the technology package, heated steering wheel, you guys can see for yourselves. It has a spray-in liner, adaptive cruise control, and pretty much fully loaded. So total options is $16,875 on this truck, with an invoice cost of $15,528. So total vehicle and options is $68,720, with an actual invoice cost of $63,743. Destination and delivery is $1,295, which brings it to a total price for the vehicle of $70,015. And then Ford adds on a fuel charge, which is very interesting, of $77.04. Now these vehicles, whether it's a Raptor or any kind of vehicle, when we get them to the dealership, they do not have a full tank. So that fuel charge, I don't really understand it. So as we can see here, $70,015. The invoice for a $70,000 Raptor is $65,115.04. We go down here. We see the invoice total, $65,115, as we just mentioned. Now the whole back on a truck like this is $2,062. As we go down to the other columns here, as you could see on the Ford Fiesta invoice that we just took a look at, it had A and Z plan, D plan, and X plan. On a Ford Raptor, the Ford does not offer any kind of incentives, so there's no rebates on a Ford. Like me, for instance, I wouldn't be able to buy this truck at a dealership pricing. No one employed at a company that has a partnership with Ford can get an X-Plan pricing, nor can any Ford Motor Company employees buy it at a special price either. Because, as I mentioned, there is no incentives available for a Ford Raptor. Now, the dealership can obviously choose to sell this vehicle at invoice if they want to. However, these trucks, they do demand the price they have, which in this case is $70,015. But I don't know of any dealership that really gives a discount on a truck like this, because these trucks are, I would have to say, one of the baddest trucks on the planet. And if you're lucky to get one from a dealership that actually has allocations for these trucks, I've heard of dealerships marking these trucks up. We don't do that at our dealership. And like I said, this truck is not one of ours. It's an invoice that I grabbed from another dealership that has this truck. So obviously I've edged out the VIN number and stuff, because it's not about like outing them and people trying to find them in this truck and so on. But just so you guys know, from MSRP to invoice differs right around $5,000. So the reason I did this video was just to be as transparent as possible as I can, being a car salesman myself. Through the years, I've had people tell me, like, you know, a dealership is forced to show the invoice if a customer asks for it. To my knowledge, there's no law that says that we have to show the invoice. Now, we can if we want to, and I've done it before. And the reason I've done that is because I keep hearing people say that, you know, dealerships that make so much money and like your cars are marked up like crazy and I don't want to pay your rent and all this stuff, you know, I'm paying too much. And, you know, it's hard on my end too, because I mean, I have numbers to work with, and I can't really do anything else. So the reason why I did this video was just to show, like, this is where I'm coming from. And this is the real markups on these vehicles. So I gave you two examples. A Ford Raptor, one of the most expensive Ford trucks that you can buy, or Ford vehicles. I mean, there's some Super Duties, Platinums, and King Rashes that cost more, but on a Raptor versus a very, very cheap Ford Fiesta. So you could see for yourself what the markup is on these two vehicles. And there's also rumors out there that, you know, I mean, these aren't the real invoices. You know, dealerships hide money somehow and they do this and that, and if there is, that's more than I know, and that's being 100% honest. I'm just a salesperson, you know, this is what I know. So let me know what you guys thought of this video and the information that I showed you. Raptor versus a Fiesta, and what the actual markup is and what the invoice says that we at the dealership actually get. Whatever your thoughts are, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you're stopping by for the first time and you haven't already, please subscribe. If you want to follow me on social media and see what I'm up to before I post it to YouTube, remember to follow me at AutoVlog for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links will be provided in the description below. Until next time, guys, thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.